approaches and has a hit. Jack McGlynn! That is an absolute banger to draw this game level.
Welcome back. This is our third episode together this season. Jack McGlynn almost had another banger this past weekend. Boy, craziness. MLS is back officially, and it is just insane out there. It was a very crazy weekend. Action nonstop, but man, crazy. Jay Blaze first in. Let's go. Yes, sir. Nice draw for your New York City boys as well. Paul, you figured out the time difference. Let's go. Hatlingen, what's happening? How they manage Messi's minutes. Today at the presser, Mascherano said that he's 100% fit and he's ready to go. So, yeah, maybe we see the first kind of rotation, maybe against Houston. But for now, he's going to keep playing. I saw that they should be announcing some moves, backup striker, because they don't really have anyone for Suarez, as well as a couple midfielders, I heard. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it just, this is a must win for them. So we'll see how that goes. Daniel, what's happening? Let's go. Yeah, too bad Jackie Boy didn't do that this weekend. Man, he was close. He had one of his rippers from outside and didn't miss by much. Balot, what's happening? Thanks for coming in again. Yeah, he was so close, though. Yeah, thank you guys for coming in. We got some midweek action. Going to go through just some of my thoughts from the weekend as well. A little bit of everything, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I'm excited for sure. Another slate, another way to get after it. And we won't talk a ton about the weekend just because we'll have the Thursday stream. But, I've been looking forward to that as well. So thanks all for coming in. If you have any questions, I can definitely rapid fire them as we go. I don't really have a crazy thing or anything planned. I just have some ideas. So let's get into it. Dan, I need an under 23 defender. So let's just let's pop over to Sorare data and just look at the pick scores real quick. I have a couple ideas, but it's tough. Like if you're just playing MLS against under 23, it's really tough. But it is nice. You can just sort it by. I guess we could just go under 23 instead of MLS, since there isn't a ton of options. Yeah, midweek for sure. Just let me. All right, so let's scroll until we see Avalos. He's expensive, but yeah, he's an option. He's suspended on the weekend. That was kind of, I don't know if that was a red. Yeah, he should start just because he's going to be resting on the weekend. Yeah, I figured you'd have to scroll a little bit here. Volodare, you don't feel good about him. Lujan, I assume it's Lujan. He should start just with the lack of options that they have. Hidalgo should be back in the starting lineup against Heredinia. It's just not guys that you're like, yeah, I feel good about this. Ian Frey, I have him starting at right back, but it's a toss-up. Just none of these guys are like options that I'd really suggest. Noah Allen started the first two, but I don't have him in the starting lineup for this one. Ahmed, I mean, is he going to start over Nelson's performance? Kobe Henry, I don't see him starting again with Justin Glad coming back. Ian James, no. It's just MLS-wise, I wouldn't. I would probably go to a different route, anybody, but the MLS guys. Duncan, what's happening? How we doing? Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't look good. I would definitely go to Europe or try to find like a cheaper option. Like I don't know a lot about, but like Nathan Collins for a couple bucks, like some of these guys in here. What's happening? Let's go. Thanks for coming in. Morning to you. Good night to others. So yeah, let's get into just take a quick scan. Obviously, we have scenarios here at each step. I'll actually go through the lineups and stuff through this. So that's what we'll do. I just want to do a real quick recap of how last week went. So first of all, I do keep track. This is on Sir Inside. They keep track of exactly how the breakdown was, just where it went bad, where it went good. Ended up 83%, which is solid. I think 2 years ago on the year, I think I was around 82.5%. Last year, I was closer to 85. So like MLS wise, I'm happy with 80 plus every game week. That'd be great for me. It does get difficult in some teams. And with me having team experts, that's a big relief off me. Just because, that's less teams I have to do. But at the same time, like Atlanta, I was usually pretty good at, and like my Atlanta prediction on RotoWire was 11-11. So you're missing out on those, which is kind of a bummer to kind of boost up some of mine. But the flip side of that, Sporting Kansas City, feel bad for Alex covering them. It's kind of tough for them. So, I struggle with them, and, that kind of helped me. So I'll kind of go through this. Any news on Negri's injury? Subbed out after an hour. Whether to buy Patty McNair. Yeah, I haven't heard much about it. I haven't really dug into my weekend stuff yet. So I've done a few teams, but I'm a little bit behind on the weekend stuff. So I don't know for sure. Did I make a note or anything? I don't think so. Yeah, you played 63 minutes. I'm not sure yet, so I'll get back to you on that before the weekend, obviously. But let's just kind of quickly, I'm not going to go in depth with all these, but what went wrong? Toronto was a kind of a crapshoot. We didn't get a lot of information from the preseason. Just like so many options were shocks to me. San Jose was another one. I got 8, but like Ricketts starting and smashing, didn't see that coming. Some of these kind of craziness, especially just not gonna go through all of them, but San Jose, Bo LaRue started, went for the first 45 minutes. Then Mark Anthony Kay came in. I just never saw that coming. Didn't have a single percent on Bo starting. So, missed out on that one. A lot of my toss-ups, I just missed. I went like 55-45 or 60-40, and I was just on the wrong side of like all of them, which is kind of a bummer. Philly, I thought Glavinovich would have started. Just, that's the team that I follow the most, and I still got 9 out of 11 on them. So that's a little bit of a bummer. You shoot for 11 out of 11, but, as you can see here, Orlando City was 11 out of 11. LA Galaxy was 11 out of 11, but I had a lot of toughness, struggled a little bit. Real Salt Lake, major rotation, 5. That's horrendous. So hopefully that can get better. Champions Cup just really makes it difficult with rotation, especially early in the season. So that's kind of just a quick recap. This is available in that pinned on my Twitter, pinned tweet. If you ever want to see how I did, completely transparent. I'm going to have bad weeks. Just kind of the fact of the matter. You'll see. And then why I post this is you can look at a team, and over the season, it's like, okay, he's pretty solid at, let's say the Galaxy. I'm sure they'll have rotation, but let's say I'm at a 90-some% on the Galaxy. You can kind of put a little bit more stock in that just because maybe it's a little bit easier. So yeah, Jaden Nelson masterclass. Didn't see that coming. Rosenborg is in season for 3 more games. Yeah, his price graph went bonkers. I mean, are we back? That was quite insane based on, both sides. This is rare. I mean, that is just bonkers. So yeah, we had that in rare, and then, limited, obviously. Crazy. That's awesome. Another one was Ricketts. Ricketts wasn't nearly as crazy, but he had that, upward trajectory that was pretty wild as well. So you got to love it. These in-season cards can go crazy. I didn't think Nelson had that in him. I was surprised. I wasn't too high on him coming in, but man, that opened my eyes a little bit. But you don't want to overreact to too much. But I think there is a lot to take away from each thing. So like I said, I'm going to do a little recap. I'm going to go to RotoWire. If you are new and you want to give this a trial, so they have these cheat sheets. It's more for DFS, but there's some really good stuff on this. So like my set piece stuff I get from here. So rotowire.com, I think it's in the description of the video as well. And I think it's /soccer trial. That gets you a free trial to this. Yeah, Marlon was the other one. Yeah, he had a big spike as well. That's a good call. So, you could either the lineups are free. So like if you would highlight MLS and you would go to lineups, those are free. You can access them. I do run those, but there's just no like, I don't have any percentages. It's just kind of straightforward. But they have these cheat sheets, which are really awesome. They have all the starting lineups. They have the odds report to kind of, go through and who's in the best matchup. But the real good stuff here, I mean, for my opinion, the best stuff is the free kicks. So I just kind of want to go through each team just because this might help people, and you want people on sets. And I'll tell you, if I thought that anything was crazy, these salaries are nothing really to worry about. That's the fantasy game. But yeah. Ray, what's happening? Good to hear from you. You support Rosenborg. Okay. So you didn't even see it coming either. All right. That's good to know. Cause I just like, I looked at him like, I remember him from Toronto. I don't know. But yeah. Dunk. Yeah. That $11, that is insane. And probably the best matchup you're going to have against Toronto this weekend. He is going to be a smasher. He's definitely in line for 100 this weekend. What do you think about prices in general? I haven't been watching the last couple of days, but yeah, they're coming down a tad, but not enough. Yeah. I spent a lot, I spent a lot. Do not go off that. It's more for fun for me. I know it's weird to say that, but I want to have like the options of like the guys that I think are going to have a really good season. And I kind of want to have the fun of doing that 3 lineups, and kind of go from there. So that was my kind of thinking on it. Price wise, I think if you wait a little bit longer, it will get there for you. The less the utility, the prices come down in general. So I think we're a little bit away from that. So set pieces are huge, right? Those attempted assists off corners, things like that. You just get so many points for guys that are on sets. We had a lot of toss-ups coming into the season. One is Atlanta. I thought Miggy might be in the mix, and turns out it was just Branchuk. He took 4, and Saba took 3. It gives you a nice little breakdown. And as the season goes on, you can see like the trajectory, the trends. So it has like, okay, game 1, this guy was on it, and then it keeps the total. So Saba taking 3 was kind of a shock. I know he takes sets, but it was kind of a shock. Miggy still did fine without sets, but Miggy would smash even more if he was on sets. So something to watch. If he has no sets, maybe it downgrades him a little bit, but yeah. Owen Wolf, he's a set guy when he's on the field. He took 5. Danny Pereira took the other one. Azuni should be back for the weekend, I would think. I think he'll be integrated in. I'm watching him to see how many sets he takes, because I think he is an option to take those. I think Danny Pereira is a good option, but if Wolf isn't in the lineup, obviously that's going to open up for people. This midweek, I'm ready to choose the wrong Seattle and Cincy keepers. Yeah, there's a little bit of risk there just because they're up, and we've seen it before. Like Andy Thomas playing would not surprise me at all. But like I'm not going to predict that Andy Thomas is going to start just because like there's risk. I think I went 30%. We'll get into those lineups here shortly. But yeah, big guys that didn't score dropping hard, especially in limited. Yeah, limited prices. I think there's just they were super inflated. Rares are too, but I think limiteds were a little bit. But yeah, Hartle had several attempted assists. He was okay. I don't think. 0-0 game, it is what it is. But I was watching super rare, busy work. He was around 3. He sold for 235. Yeah, they're coming down. That's a good price for Stuver after a clean sheet too. Yeah, just so much hype with the promotion and everything. Evander took and Baird took 2 whenever Evander was off the pitch. Whenever Orjano comes back, I'm leaning towards weekend. We'll see, obviously. Maybe he gets some minutes in the midweek, but I want to see how many sets he gets. Evander's going to have a ton, obviously, but very interested to see how that goes. Columbus, it's kind of how we thought it was going to be. Chambos took 4. Diego Rossi 1. So Chambos is the set piece guy, especially on the left side. He was taking them. I think Diego took on the right side of corner, I believe. Could be wrong on that, but I think that's what whenever I was watching. I was watching MLS 360 as well as the Philly game, but it's kind of, you miss stuff, obviously. Charlotte, Westwood, again, is still on them, 3 and then 1. Whenever Zaha comes back from the baby, we'll see how he factors in if he takes some as well. Dallas, Lucho is going to take his 3. Leggett, 1. Kind of makes sense. For DC, Pirani took all 2. They only had 2, so he took them both. Excuse me. I'm still battling this cold, so if I sound terrible, I feel a little bit better than the last stream, but I don't know. A lot of hydration breaks here. Chicago, Zinc taking both. I don't want to give away too much, but I think he'll do pretty well this weekend. Fagundes took both for the Galaxy, and that loss to San Diego. Jack McGlynn came in 4, including 1 free kick. And then Lodero came in his 28 minutes. He took 2. So Lodero is going to eat into that whenever he's on the pitch. So it's not going to be all Jack McGlynn. So if Lodero is on the pitch, but again, I don't see Lodero as like a start every match by any means. So McGlynn's still going to get his. His AA was crazy. If he had a decisive, that's an easy 100. But he smashed his face off. You love to see that for him. LAFC. We have Concacaf Champions Cup as well, where we have a little bit more data as well. Buonga's taking most. Marco Delgado took 1. David Martinez took 1. They took a short corner as well in Concacaf Champions Cup. Someone else took as well. So Messi, usual suspects there. 5 for him, 1 for Alba, 1 for Segovia, and 1 for David Ruiz, who surprise start there. Minnesota was one that I was watching just because I picked up some of the guys. Joaquin Pereira took 5, and he took them in the first half when Rosales was playing as well. And Rosales was the guy last year, so it seems like he's taking over. Rosales got subbed after 45 minutes. Robin Lode didn't start. He did take 1 in his 23 minutes of action, but it seems like Pereira is the set-piece guy. I think Lode will cut into that if they both start, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Montreal with Duke on the pitch. He's going to take, a significant amount. And Pierce, Gator Guy's main man, whenever he came on for those 45 minutes, he took 2 as well. Caden Clark 1. New England, Carlos Hill with 3, Ganago with 1. Hill's going to take the majority there. Nothing crazy. Tagseth for Nashville took 5. That was interesting kind of coming into it. I didn't know if Hani would take like most, if not all. But 5-3 split there. I was kind of a little bit surprised that Hani didn't have the edge on that, but that's interesting moving forward. New York City, Morales and Hannes Wolf split. So, with Santi Rodriguez gone, that's going to be an interesting situation. They're probably just going to split whenever they're on the field, but Wolf is going to have more minutes whenever Morales is off. I feel like Wolf is going to get them all. Emil Forsberg, all 4. We no shock there. Tolkien gone opens him up. It was a tough matchup, but he still got 4 there. Orlando, Ojeda, smash spot this weekend. He took 8. Pasalic 1, but yeah, Ojeda, that's one guy that whenever the prices were first going, I'm like, man, that's high. Forward card, he is a great option. Philly, Kai took 7. Quinn Sullivan took 2. Vasilev coming in is going to eat into some of that because that's Bradley Carnell's boy, which is interesting. Here's one that like really popped out to me. So Portland they were horrendous. Obviously, they got ran out of the building. But David DaCosta, or however you want to say it, I've seen Pereira DaCosta. I've seen a bunch of different names, but he played the second half. He is starting this weekend per Neville. I don't know what you want to call for that. Might not be true, but based on his prior quotes. But he said that if the game was one day later, he would have started. So him playing 45 minutes, he'll be good to go in the weekend. He took 5 sets in 45 minutes, which is, you love to see it. So it seems like he's going to be a really good option as far as if they can be half decent, just with those set piece taking situations. Not saying he's going to be a Vander, but he might have a workload that's a little bit comparable, but not the same. Joe Martinez took one as well. He didn't have a great day. A couple more teams. So Mihalovic took the only one, and he took all sets in the Champions Cup previously. So that's, another monopoly that you want to look at. Pablo Ruiz, welcome back. Took all 6 for RSL. That's interesting. With Diego Luna coming back, he took all 6. He's the guy. It's just how are they going to spread out his minutes? He played 90, which is great to see. He seems healthy. He seems, good. They lost 4-0, but that's some positives that you can take from that. Lozano took 4, all 4 for San Diego. So he, if he's dusty or not, he scored well. He's on sets. He's a good option. I don't have one, and I'm not going to buy one, but that is interesting. We figured Espinoza would have a good share there, 5-2. Hernan Lopez taking 2. Espinoza smashed, and so did the rest of San Jose. Manu Garcia, he came off the bench again, played 45 minutes. He's probably going to start midweek, and he's a good option for Sporting Kansas City because, Memo Rodriguez does take sets as well, but it seems like Garcia is going to be the set piece guy. He took him in Champions Cup whenever he's on the pitch. He's going to have a huge workload, so that's very interesting. Rusnak, they kind of didn't play. Jesus Ferreira didn't start him. So Rusnak took all 8. That is great if you're a Rusnak holder, if you're wondering if he'd lose some sets. Very interesting there. Hartle, Leuven, 4-2 there. Bernadeschi, 6. Coelho, 1, but Bernadeschi has the set piece monopoly there. Ryan Gauld does split a little bit with Berhalter, 7-4, but man, he had 7 in that matchup. So I think this is just a good idea. Maybe I'll do this on Mondays, the Monday streams, just kind of go through set pieces because you want guys that take sets. And it's interesting to see how it kind of goes. Like next week, we could be coming back here and I don't know, maybe Seattle, instead of Rusnak having all 8, it's more spread out. But yeah, something to watch week to week. This is again on RotoWire. They have all this good stuff, and you can get a free trial for this free kick tracker. But the lineups are free, so if you're looking for that free option. All right, that's that. That is that week. Stock up, stock down. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I like that a lot. Now let's jump into the midweek. So as far as this midweek, we do have some situations. It's going to be tricky. We'll go through each. I'll show you my lineups since it's a midweek to kind of get you going. If you have any questions on my thinking, my reasoning, and some of the stuff we didn't hear a lot. I will say tomorrow morning around 9:30-ish my time. So about 30 minutes before lock, 30 to 40 minutes, Jarm, JARM 21. He always does the presser and tweets out any information about Inter Miami. So that is one to watch, depending on how my work goes. I don't know if I'll be able to update lineups, but I'll obviously maybe try and retweet something I see if that's the case. Ronan, what's happening? Good morning to you. But we'll start with, you'll do LAFC and Colorado. So let's jump into LAFC. They're coming into this. They're down 2-1 against Colorado, but they did get an away goal. They do away goals. Favorite moment was the Fire Presser Twitter brief. We don't say his name in the chats here, but yeah, that was pretty hysterical. No one likes Sorare players for some reason. So my kind of toss-ups, we'll talk about the toss-ups. We'll talk about who should play. It should be a very similar to the first leg. I think the only difference possibly Maybe Giroud comes off the bench again. Obviously scored. So I think there's a significant chance that he is back in that starting lineup. And Giroud, can't score ever. So, that's a tricky one. Ordaz, he started the first leg, and David Martinez obviously brings more. I lean Ordaz just due to the early fixtures, things like that. He did have the assist on Abobasi's goal. So, yeah, that could be interesting. I like David Martinez way better than Ordaz, but, this might just be 60 minutes for Ordaz, 30 minutes, electric off the bench, kind of, yeah. Yeah. David Martinez at the 10 would be cool. Go 2 in the midfield, drop Tillman. Yeah, Tillman played horrendously. With them not having any midfield backups is really tough. Like Saldana he's not an MLS level player right now, but yeah, kind of out of the Neville terrorism. But I still love Portland. I think they're my MLS following now. Not in the cards, but yeah, I mean, that's cool that you can still follow them, and you got to have a team, right? Paul, yeah, Dreyer, nice start to the franchise, but yeah, it's so hard to sell cards, right? It's just like, you feel a little bit of attachment. He had that, great opener win over the Galaxy, and yeah, can't fault you for that. I'm a hold forever kind of guy, and then it gets too low to sell. So the other kind of toss-ups, Maxime Chanot is questionable. He wasn't fit enough to make the team on the weekend, but he's getting closer with a head injury. So that's interesting. Marlon was really good. He was really good, and it's just a matter of if he's fit enough to go back to back. He apparently had fitness issues coming in, just not enough game reps, things like that. So that's why I'm leaning Segura back in the starting lineup, even though he was not good whatsoever in the first leg. Maybe it was cold, maybe it was, not ideal playing situation. Sure. But Marlon looked a lot better than him. So that's a big toss up. Again, the first week I missed every single one of these. Like Marlon would start over Segura. Ordaz would not start. You get the idea. Outside of that, everyone else should start. We'll see. But, they are down. But if they win 1-0, they take it home just with that away goal. Where do I like to see Gressel? I don't know. Gressel's a journeyman. He's lost multiple steps. I don't know. There was those Philly links, and I didn't want him in Philly, to be honest with you. I get what he can do, but I just don't want him. So he was a hot commodity 2 years ago, but he just kind of passed that player. He just seems to go to a team and then he phases out. Happened in Columbus, happened in Miami. Like he's a starter, and then tail end of the year, he just kind of trails off. So I'm all out on Gressel. Colorado, on the other hand, Reggie Cannon looked like he was dying on the pitch, and he came back. So that was a shocker. I did not think. I think I was like 10% on him. I could not believe that he was back. I guess he's fine. He got stepped on. I don't know. I thought he tore something or he was crying, like it was bad, but he was fine. So again, you can't really, even the eye test doesn't work sometimes. Yeah, no one wants to take that salary kid. Yeah, he does. He does deserve an Oscar. Yeah, he fooled me. That's for sure. Pro athletes just built different. Yeah. So as far as this team, Atencio has an Opta injury designation, but I didn't see anything from like beat reporters, anything on that. Something to watch though. But he seems like he's, they got him for a reason. They paid a lot of Garber bucks for him that they saved up. And yeah, it seems like he's going to be a starter there, especially with Ronan out. Well, doubtful, but with him continuing to be out, it's either him or, Bassett can play there, double pivot kind of situation, but he played left mid last match. Yeah, 0-0 draw at St. Louis. Maybe they switch it back. Interesting to see. That back line, they don't really have any other options. Murphy was linked to playing left back if Cannon couldn't go. And then Rosenberry sliding over to the right. But yeah, kind of crazy there. Yeah. I have a lower back injury. You can confirm. The attack has been the same. I mean, Mihalovic and Navarro plays every match pretty much. So you feel good about them. You can load up them if you really want to play them. I do think LAFC, again, it needs in better conditions. I think they do get enough to advance, but I don't know if they'll be able to keep a clean sheet, which they're going to need to if they want to win 1-0. Maybe it's a 2-1. We get a little bonus time. But yeah, if you have any of these guys like Mihalovic, you're still going to play him. Set piece extraordinaire. You feel good about him. Next up, we got surprisingly tight contest. They had the Cole game last time out, last midweek. Got postponed today, and now Fafa Picault gets hurt. Who else got hurt? Cello Weigand, however you say it, pulled his hamstring. He's out 3 weeks. So maybe Mascherano has a point with the injuries that happened and everything that went with that. It was really cold. I wouldn't want to play in that, but I'm very soft. So that's neither here nor there. As far as the calendar situation, it's weird. He was seen fully training, and the quote was he just wasn't ready, which is weird. He's not 100%, but he looked fine in training. I don't know if they're just pushing him out or what the case is there. Ustari should start again. Jordi Alba should start at left back. Aviles should start at right center back. Then we have some toss-ups. So Gonzalo Lujan did not play last match, didn't start last match. He should be back in the starting lineup after starting the first leg. Noah Allen started both matches, but kind of seems like, he won't. David Martinez is in training, so that's going to be a question mark if he's good to go, whether or not he's good to go. Calendar not, yeah. He doesn't speak the language, so you pushed out. He's not injured, but not, hysterical. It is kind of funny that it's like it's the writing on the wall, right? So I did go Lujan starting at left center back. He can also play right back with Cello being out. Ian Frey, he does have an injury history. They're going to be easy with his minutes for sure. But we could see Lujan moving over there if Frey doesn't start, and then Allen or Martinez starting at left center back. That makes a ton of sense too. So that's kind of why I'm a toss up there. Segovia should start. He came off the bench last match. Allende did not play at all last match. Kramashi got to start. So, he should play as well. Should be a lot of first leg kind of things. Redondo was rotated as well. So like those guys, you feel pretty good about playing. Suarez, I mean, they're not going to play Robert Taylor up top. Or obviously Messi could, but, Robert Taylor's not going to start in this situation. Suarez and Messi should play. We got word that, Messi was 100% in training. So he should be good to go. If you have a Messi, you're playing him. That's kind of just, even if he comes off the bench, you're probably fine, right? Starting with the starting score of 35, he'll probably get a decisive in a good matchup. So yeah, you feel good about that. But additional notes. I did throw the training notes in there. If you're a Sorare Inside member, the other one that I did want to talk about is Maxi Falcone. He's going to need to see some minutes before he starts, in my opinion, and based on what I've seen. He didn't appear in the preseason, hasn't played a minute since November. Not that that's like a long, crazy time, but with him not playing any minutes, it's really hard to see him starting. But I do think he could see some minutes off the bench in this matchup, and especially maybe on the weekend with Aviles being suspended. That's just kind of a thing that makes a lot of sense before they maybe get, reinforcements back from injury. But yeah, I do think they're going to take care of business. Alex's Sporting Kansas City squad. So if we take a look at at them, Vargas was waived. That was kind of, he was a decent option, Linus Vargas. I don't know, kind of crazy. But yeah, Manu, he doesn't have him in the starting lineup. I think it's, again, a toss-up. He's just ramping up minutes. He didn't have that preseason, but, late transfer. Jovic didn't play, didn't start on the weekend. So, he should be back in. Jacob Bartlett kind of came out of nowhere as, starter there. Radoya should be a starter. Memo Rodriguez is playing as well. So whenever Garcia gets fully fit, he should be good. Tim Leibold, I have him as a starter back in here as well. Ndembe played on the weekend. Leibold back in my opinion. But yeah, other than that, Tommy and Shalloway have not been great. Shalloway has been really bad as far as if you look at SOFR score ratings, things like that. They've not been good so far, but maybe there's an uptick here. But outside of that, yeah, I like this lineup. I just don't think you're going to love playing any of these guys as far as against Inter Miami, even though it's on a short game week. You'd rather have that Miami side, which not a shocker whatsoever. Let's get to Real Salt Lake, who is playing Herediano. They drew 0-0, I believe, in the first leg. So no away goal. They're back at home, so they got to be wary about that. They got smashed and rotated several guys. The kind of question marks would be Catranas is getting battered. He left after I think 17 minutes the first match. Second match, he could have came back out, but they didn't want to go down a man for extended period of time. Should we go? He just fell on his elbow, kind of nasty crash there. Junkwak can play, but Junkwak got a lot of minutes back-to-back matches based on that. So I see Catranas starting. Brent Vera and Glad, the center back pairing. Quinton started last match. Henry started the first leg with Glad coming back from injury, but Hidalgo was rested, so I see him back at right back. But they do have several options, and kind of what I went with is the Anelli and Ojeda center mid pairings, and Gonzalez back in the starting lineup. He did not start over the weekend. I think he'll be playing in his natural through the middle number 10 role with Luna. Luna's a tough one, but they need to win this, right? With them rotating and losing 4-0 in the weekend, you would think they go for it. Why would you not? Especially when, based on this roster, it could be a tough season for Real Salt Lake. They have some good pieces, but I think they could, with how the West is shaping up, they could be fighting for that bottom end of the playoffs, and, no one would be surprised. They still need to bring it forward after the whole Elias Manuel situation, who refused to come. Very weird, very bizarre. Forster Jago from Nashville has had several big chances missed, which has kind of been brutal, but they don't really have any other options except for Xavier Gozo. And Piol is coming back from a hamstring. He's questionable. So don't think anything there. Luna with his broken nose, he played last match fine enough. He's going to have to wear that mask for a while, but I do see him probably starting on that left side just because they want to win this, and Mark's back in the starting lineup as well. We'll see how this goes. We'll see if they, just mail it in and rotate a weird way again. But again, in the additional notes, that's where all the action's at. Vera, Hidalgo, Anelli, Gonzalez, Mark Zook, and Brooke were all rotated on the weekend, but with other guys back, Brooke isn't a starter. So that's what I think about RSL. It was a boring 0-0 draw. I watched a little bit of it and then I turned it off last midweek. But yeah, you would think at home they would be able to win, but this can be tricky situations. They really could be. Seattle. Okay, so now we're going to get into the ones where, to be frank with you, I'm getting flashbacks from I don't know if it was 2 years ago when they just rotated everybody. But I think there is some breadcrumbs, some places with just the rotation that they did. So we're going to start with the back line that I really don't know. In the past, they've played like Andy Thomas. And, he has a 30% chance. I think that's pretty legit. Colonel, what's happening? Yeah, I kind of feel the same way as from a prediction standpoint, it would make it a lot easier if it was tighter, but they did get that third goal. And then, it does open it up where you're at home, you feel pretty good about it. And the rotation that they would have, it's still good players, but that back line just kind of scares me that maybe they rotate some guys early in the season. The outside backs don't scare me as much just because of the limited options. Nuhu 80%, Alex Roldan, great score last match. 80% as well, just because, Travion Sousa and Baker, I just don't see them starting. I could be wrong. I just don't see them starting. Then the center backs, Kim Ki-hee got his visa. He's been training. So maybe they give him a shot, but maybe with the limited preseason, things like that, kind of tough. Jackson Reagan, same deal. John Bell would be the replacement. John Bell can actually also play left back in a pinch. So maybe Nuhu does get rotated. I don't know. We're just kind of guessing at this point without any true information. Yeah, went one line for yeah. You hate to do it, but it seems right. The one's going to be dead and the other one's going to go off without a goalie, and it's not where you want to be. Yeah, paper thin. Yeah, RSL just. Yeah, I agree with that. The midfield, Christian Roldan and Vargas obviously leading the way, but I did go 50% with João Paulo. This does feel like a João Paulo match where he plays for one of them. I just don't know which one. Danny Leyva would be the other option. Tough to see him starting, but I guess they could, in theory, go João Paulo and Leyva, but that would be kind of shocking. The attack might be a little bit easier with Ariola, Ferreira, and De La Vega with the weekend lineup. With Rusnak coming back from injury, he looked fine. Obviously, this doesn't seem like a match he plays, in my opinion, or he comes off the bench for a little bit if necessary. But the three guys there that I just mentioned didn't start over the weekend. I feel like you don't want to say locks, but I feel like they're locks to start in this situation unless they rotate again, which I doubt it. But I feel pretty confident about these three. 20% up here for. Do we see Danny Musovski? That would be gross. But if Morris gets rotated as well, that's why I'm 60% on Morris. So. Rothrock, Rusnak, and Georgi Manungu were the starters on the weekend. So I do feel like they're just going to rotate there. Seattle does have, great options in the attack to be able to do that and be able to rotate and, not lose this match. This is still a strong squad, depending on how they play it. But yeah, that's what I'm going with Seattle. It would not shock me if you see the lineup and you're like, oh God. But that is a chance we take with Champions Cup. I said it last year whenever Philly lost to Colorado in the third place game in the Leagues Cup. I was happy because for Philly, they don't have the depth to do that. They don't have the team to do that. So, yeah. Antigua, Guatemala is who they're playing. I didn't mention that. Vancouver. Who woke up Vancouver on short notice? Wow. So Saprissa is a tough side. They're a tough side. Vancouver got an away goal, but they lost 2-1. Then they won 4-1 at Portland over the weekend. That was a shocker. So kind of crazy how things turn around, maybe get a little bit of form. Yeah. Colonel, yeah, makes sense, right? Nothing else would be surprising. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Vancouver, the only kind of change that I could see, well, two changes from the original lineup in the first leg would be Pedro Vite starting. JC Nagando started. That was a shocker for me the first leg. But then he went away for visa renewal, and he should be back in the next couple days, which would put him right around game time. Because they play Thursday. Yeah, they play Thursday. So I would say Vite starts again. I believe he scored a goal on the weekend. And then the other one would be Jaden Nelson. Like, how do you not start him? He only played 60 minutes, to get some fitness, but I know Ahmed didn't start, but how do you not start Nelson after that performance? But again, we don't know is he fully fit, with the lack of a preseason kind of thing, him transferring in the middle, that would be my only caution. But based on form, you got to play the kid. But maybe Ali Ahmed starts and goes 60. And then Nelson comes on for 30 just to keep him fit. But that would be the only other one. The rest, with them losing the first leg, it should be their best 11. They take this competition seriously. They want to win this competition or advance as far as they can, just because winning the Canadian Championship, which they've done, I think, at least 2 years in a row, maybe more, is a really big deal for them to have one up on Montreal and Toronto, as well as the Canadian Premier League teams. So I think they go at it. The injuries, Daniel Rios is on a 2-week preseason program. He's just going to be, a guy that can spell Brian White at times, in my opinion. Krylik, he's just here. An off the bench guy, and Sabi is out another 2 to 4 weeks. So that's a little bit better than the original diagnosis with his ankle injury. It's just a sprain, but it was a bad sprain. So good news that there's no break there. So that's that. And then our last match here is FC Cincinnati. So I said about Seattle, Cincy's going to be a nightmare as well. And I would say I feel a little bit better about Seattle, some of the spots there. There's just so much going on here that is going to be really difficult. David Ov, what's happening? Thanks for coming in. So same situation as Seattle. But this time they won 4-1 in the first leg. There's going to be rotation, but they are so thin. So if we go over to Cincinnati's page, just with the injuries, so Orjano could be back in theory, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys out already out of the squad. And, they had Noah Adnan, a Cincy 2 kid that they called up to start the first match. He could get another start. They just don't have the options right now to rotate that much. Like Anunga is a pretty good chance to start just based on what they actually have. Like Steven Jimenez, sure, he could start. There's a lot of these guys that just could start. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Adnan starts, especially with Hadebe coming back from injury. He started, he played fine the weekend. Miles Robinson, you would think, he's fit, he can do it. And then maybe Powell coming back in. I have Powell coming in over Flores just as a rotation situation. Could we see Halsey in for either Engel or Yedlin? Sure, we could. I mean, there's going to be rotations. It's just really hard to decide where that rotation is going to be. Pelubuka and Nwobodo, they play like every match. Like last season, they played like every match. So fitness isn't an issue. That's the only thing like holding me back from putting Anunga in the starting lineup. And then Evander, I just don't see him starting. It just doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't make sense. Selfishly, I hope he doesn't play for Evander. So then on the weekend, he's going to start. So that would be a nice little... There's no issues there. So I do have Corey Baird starting just because in the grand scheme of things, that makes sense. And then Denke start every match. Baird could start up there. Stefan Chirilla, he's one of the Chirilla brothers that are on Cincinnati 2. I actually think he might have gotten a first. He got a contract, right? Yeah, he actually signed. But he's only 18. Maybe they give him a start. Denke... I went 70%, but it's just kind of lack of options. I went 40% with Orjano. should see Kubo start. Kubo is that Swiss Army knife. He can play left wing back. He can play right wing back. He can play either center mid spot. He can play everywhere. He's like the Sean Zawadski of Cincinnati. So he has an option to move around elsewhere, but you'd have to think he starts as well. You just don't feel good about these Cincinnati players just based on the possibility of movement and just resting, because you would have to think a 4-1 win on the road, 4 away goals. They're not going to lose 3-0 at home, right? You wouldn't think so. To Motagua, who didn't look great. They did score a goal, but they didn't look great. So those are the lineups, projected lineups for this this midweek. As far as where to play them, you don't feel great about it. Just kind of me looking at like all those rosters, things like that. Based on the competitions, like if you're playing them in All-Star, you're going to have to deal with all these other leagues playing Championship, the Prem, Serie A is only one match, right? Yeah. J League, just everywhere. So while that there isn't a ton playing, it's just hard to think that like outside of like Messi and a few other guys that there's going to be, your Inter Miami stacks will do well, but it's just tough to see unless you have a lineup that has like, Ryan Gauld should be in for a good matchup. Jesus Ferreira should start. Some of these Seattle guys that should start. You have Messi in there, but as far as if you have teams, just kind of looking at my teams, like for me, I have Drake Callender as a goalie, so that's not going to work. And then I have Polskamp. So I have a Messi and I have Polskamp. I'm going to have to put him in the same lineup. I'm expecting nothing because I'm not going to buy players for this midweek. It just kind of, especially, this kind of just makes like, you don't want players that play in the midweek just because, prize pools are worse. You would rather just them not play and then they be fit for the weekend where you're playing for cash. So it's a weird week. Lots of stuff in All-Star, quite a few under 23 goalies in Prem. Yeah. And like the under 23, if you're looking on the back end, you have Polskamp in that. Do we have any others? Celentano, is he still age eligible? But yeah. So there's a couple options there. But defender-wise, we looked through them earlier. Horrendous. Denny Bouanga is a good option as well. But again, there's so many forwards. They're like, you can't play them all in the same lineup. So it is pretty tricky. You're going Steph, Yamar, Gauld, Bouanga, and Ferreira. Defensive stack makes me nervous. Yeah, that defensive stack makes you definitely nervous. But if they start, I mean, you got to think Gauld, Bouanga, and Ferreira do really well. I love that lineup. I mean, as far as MLS lineups, outside of having a Messi in that's about as good as it gets. But again, if you're competing against the rest of the world, it could be tough. Don't forget Cap 230. I actually haven't even. Let's look at what. I haven't built any lineups or anything like that. So I actually should have probably looked beforehand before I'm just saying, yeah, just don't play a goalie. Just play no goalie and just ball out with Alba, Messi, Bouanga. Yeah, love that option. Got second in under 23 rare, got $5. Oh man, that's brutal. That's brutal. Sorry about that. Dang, $5. D4, but yeah, still podium prize. That's rough. For some reason, it always takes me to the NBA side. I don't play NBA. I don't have any NBA cards, so that's always weird. Yeah, streaking. Anyone go streaking? I went the option of going 4+1 because I just want to get to D1. 2 out of 3 got to D1. But yeah. How did everybody do? As far as their rewards, things like that. How we looking? I thought I had a terrible game week, but it worked out pretty well. I mean, as far as bad game weeks go, I'm kind of happy. I got $20 in cash, which that's going to make a dent into what I spent. But 91 essence is crazy. 66 rare essence, which is going to be fun. And then I played a bunch of my other cards down into limited, so I got a little bit of limited back. And then 1 box from the All-Star competition. For some reason, I can't scroll to see this, but 2 D1s, and then my third one just bubbled from the D1 cut line. So we'll have one in D2, but that'll probably work out just as well. But let's see what we got going on. And the amount of times I've actually come to this, like instead of just doing it on server data, I think I can probably count on one hand, right? Let's go to Discover New and see what's going on. 2 teams, both going to D2. Okay. Secured 20 essence from 1. Yeah. I mean, the essence part of it was pretty cool. I mean, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun to do tomorrow, just be able to, do that. Does anyone know if that's going to be distributed all at the same time, or can you like take one of those 20s and then spin that? Because I'm a tier 5 guy, but I doubt they'll let you do that. They'll probably all in one. But yeah, so got the Prem going on, obviously, Contender and the free-to-play Best of Europe. Classic 230. That's going to be interesting. Top 25% or top 20% managers rewarded. Maybe I'll mess around with that. All-Star, top 20% again. It is pretty easy to get a box. I forget who last time in chat told me it's pretty easy to get a box because I played like under 23 that one time, and I got a box with a 4-man team somehow. But yeah, that's Yvonne. That's what I would rather do too. So they probably won't let you do it, but I would like to open it 20 at a time. But yeah, I doubt they'll let you do that because I'm a T5er, especially if it's all MLS. It's going to go straight to the collections unless I already have the card, or if I just don't have any cards from that collection, then I'd sell it. But it gets you that dice roll. My crafts were horrendous. I didn't get anyone. I didn't get a T4. They're all T5s, and I think I crafted like maybe 9 or 10 times. That's kind of gross to think about. And then the free cards were horrendous as well. But yeah, that's the RNG. That's the 5% that you had. So I'm going to pop over to server data and see if I can even throw anything together. That 230 is interesting for me just because I don't know. I think I might just hit the button. Yeah, I definitely just hit the button. Or is that last? I don't know. Yeah. The guy that got first only had a 4-man. All right, so that's pretty crazy. That's pretty funny, actually. Let's go to 230. I guess I must have ran this twice. I don't remember doing it. I apparently did, though. I thought I already deleted that. I don't know. All right, let's reload the page. All right, let's see what we got. Let's play 230. Let's see what we can scrounge up. Because I pulse camp and his cap's 32. That's tremendous. He should be worth $1,000 for this game week. So yeah, we'll play the one with the higher percent, obviously in the top lineup. So that 32. Do I think Engel's going to play? That 43 would be a great boy. I might. Ian Frey is a little bit riskier, but if he plays, yeah, I don't know if he's going to score that well. But try to see if anyone's just predicted as a sub. But I think they're going to start. It doesn't seem that way. I did. So I'm going to throw Angle in there to start. Even if he doesn't start, it is what it is. I literally don't expect anything from midweeks. So if I would get anything, that'd be great. But I guess a box would be a win for that. So if we go 43 there. Jose Martinez, if he starts on a 38, Vite, he's 50-50, but he'll come off the bench. So with 35 going to a sub, I feel pretty good about it. I do have an Anunga, 50-50. I agree. I think there's a chance he does start. Do I have anyone else? No. So I haven't been following Corinthians. So I am going to pop over here and see what's happening with them. boy, it'd be great to just see like a 90%. I mean, they're 94% to win. So 70%. Yeah, I feel good enough to roll the dice with that. Because if that allows me to play Messi in this, I mean, I want to be able to play a Messi. It's against my goalie. So again, terrible strategy, but the 38 seems like it's gonna be fine. So a little Philadelphia Union there. Messi's a 75. That's easy to fit in. And then we got 42 left. So it's doable. It's not a great lineup, but it's kind of funny playing Messi and Cap 230. But do we have anyone viable? Nunga would be 43. Some of these guys are just missing. All right. Oh, Allende is a 36. I mean, I think he's going to start personally. I know he was a sub last match, but I mean, he should start as well. So we have outs here. That's going to be funny. Yeah, I'm going to play him. Little Inter Miami stack. And we'll captain Poles Camp. 68. Nice. Okay. We got, I mean, how many Messis are going to be in 230? I wouldn't think a lot, right? If like Evander and like Denki, I was sure they were going to play. I would put them all in All-Star, obviously. But again, I'm not going to buy a goalie, and having Poles Camp already and playing 2 Miami guys against him, it's just a lose-lose. But yeah, that's a laughable lineup. But honestly, I can't do better. I mean, in theory, I could buy a keeper, but if in a perfect world, Drake Callender would be able to play, but then I couldn't fit everyone else. So I'll see you guys at the top here. So Cap 230, that's a winner right there. No doubt about it. That's a hilarious lineup. I guess. Yeah, these are awesome. I guess I'm just going to run back another 230, right? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go 230s. Because I got 2 keepers. And then I'll throw away to maybe get some XP for it, hopefully. So we got Poles Camp, that 32 cheat code against Miami. Easy matchup. Do I go maybe like a Vancouver stack, a little mini Vancouver stack here? I think I might just do that. Or do I go, just opposite of Miami? Just fade Miami. 11% chance to win there. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Vander, I just don't know. I just don't think it makes sense for him to start in this matchup. But what do I know? Buka is going to be probably a good option, but I'm going to go Vite. And then go my Ferreira. And we got 57 left. Love it. So who do we go with? I guess Pavel Buka. There's a pretty big drop-off. So maybe Pavel Buka. Is there anyone else? Maybe Cabral, but tough matchup. Yeah, I don't really love any of it. So I guess we go Denki, just in case. I mean, this lineup doesn't matter at all, but I think Buka maybe have a better chance at starting. But, if Denki plays, he could smash. I just don't see him playing kind of thing, 70%, but these are throwaway lineups. So Jesus Ferreira, he should start. He should play. Yeah. I've seen worse lineups. Definitely seen worse. Definitely seen better. And then we'll do just a throwaway and all-star. If Calendar comes back from the dead, we're in business. Just played all the top guys that I have here. So Yamar, Evander, just a what if kind of thing. Guess we'll go here. Doesn't matter. And I guess we'll do one more just for giggles. Maybe Pulse Camp gets rotated. Just make sure I have his backup. Just click through this quick. Yeah, we'll get a Nunga in there. And we throw Orjano in there for fun. Sure, why not? Doesn't matter. All right. Yeah, that's the midweek. A lot to look forward to in that, huh? Sure, why not? Right. Yeah, weekend will be fun though. Weekend will definitely be fun. You know, I almost miss training lineups. As weird as it is, because I did kind of like being able to pick who I was training and kind of grind XP that way. The new XP system is going to be interesting to see how you do that, but you know, less levels, things like that. Just a quick jump ahead. I don't really have much more to talk about, but quick jump ahead. Let's see what competitions they have. J-League Precision, K-League Power, East Asia Special. They just really want me to play under 23, huh? Limited is the new training lineup. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing all my rare in seasons in limited. Because I don't play limited, I just have rares. So I've been doing that as well. Pretty funny. Do I know a single thing about him? He played like one match last year. I would, yeah, for Peru call-ups, Otero should start. So he would be a guy, if you have him, it's probably worth buying him as a handcuff. Just speaking from past experiences with Andre Blake leaving for Jamaica, and then you're just like out of luck because the backup isn't minted. I would definitely get an Otero personally, just to kind of cover your bases there, especially if he gets injured too. That's just kind of, it makes the most sense. Let's just kind of take a look to see where's MLS. Is it in the Classic? They probably don't have it in here because they haven't done divisions yet, I'm guessing, right? Am I missing something? Did they move him to Challenger? So I guess, yeah, that must be what's going on here, right? Okay. Not here after game over. Okay. Makes sense. Instant buy. I mean, he's under 23 too. It's just, you can never go wrong just because there's been too many injuries where you're just like last year with Andre Blake getting hurt, just miserable not having the goalie. And I was stacking Philly whenever I could, and just like, okay, I don't even have a goalie. Then Semla got minted, got him. Then he was out. Then Andrew Rick didn't have any cards. It was just brutal. But yeah, always good. Unless the backup is, really expensive, then I can, like the Mikovic McCarthy situation, you could probably lean of just like not having either, just price wise. But yeah, but then again, not a ton of people saw Mikovic as being the starter. Some people did, but it's, you had that backup. He goes up, McCarthy goes down. I don't know, tough. Already back to Challenger. Yeah, they changed it around there. It's, we got enough money from this. You guys just go back to Challenger. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I guess we made it over an hour. I feel like the midweek streams are just going to be pretty short. We'll just do kind of like the similar things until we get into the Messi mania, where it's going to be just absolutely brutal. Whenever every team plays midweeks and we just have the crazy rotation and the crazy turnarounds, which is going to be brutal. But yeah, the weekend stream on Thursday should be good. I'm planning on, we'll see how it goes. I'm planning on having some guests maybe in the future on the Thursday shows. So keep on the lookout, or it might just be me. We'll see. But might have some guests throughout the season. But yeah. Call up to Venezuela. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Wow. When is the next round? Next week. So I started doing a few of the lineups for the following week. They don't go on Sorare Inside till the game week switches over. But like Columbus enters the following midweek. So we have that rotation as well. It is just, boy, if you have teams to play in Concacaf Champions Cup, it is just brutal. It just this early in the season, guys just can't play every single match. It keeps going and going and going, which makes it brutal. Hey, it's Hershey. What's happening? You came in at a perfect time because we're just wrapping up. Go Vancouver, right? Jaden Nelson. Congrats. Love to see it. But yeah, on that note, I'm glad it's Hershey got in here right before I logged off. But thank you guys for joining. As usual, make sure you like on your way out if you learned anything, or if you didn't, don't like it. We'll be back on Thursday for another stream, bigger stream, longer stream. We'll go through all the teams. We'll go through possible who I like, things like that. So yeah, we'll run it back on Thursday and we'll have some fun there. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next